Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Micahel Roark will make a mysterious debut this October 2025, so the young and the restless alum is about to head over to Salem. It's confirmed that Roark has joined the show and that he'll kick off his run the first week of October, but Duel's staying tight-lipped on the news of who he's playing. However, there are some clues that could point to the identity of Micahel Roark's Mystery Days character. We're hearing some rumblings that Roark might be playing Jeremy Horton, which makes sense considering he looks so much like Jeremy's previous portrayer, Trevor Donovan. Plus, Days' recent Summer and Beyond preview video points to Mike Horton returning for the opening of the Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic. Mike is Jeremy's father, so we could certainly imagine him being on canvas when his son makes a comeback as well. Abigail Klein also follows Roark on Instagram, which is worth mentioning since Stephanie happens to be Jeremy's former flame. In other words, there's no guarantee that Roark will be playing Jeremy when he hits town this October, but there's definitely evidence to support the idea. Jeremy was last seen in 2007, but it may be time for him to resurface this fall. As for Micahel Roark, Y&R fans may remember him from his stint as Travis Crawford in Genoa City, where he was paired with Victoria Newman for some sizzling storylines back in 2016. Roark's other film and television projects include The Black Dagger Brotherhood, Catalyst, Driven, Roped, and more. Now Roark is set to return to the soap world with his imminent Days debut, so we'll be sure to pass along updates as his first air date gets closer. It'll be exciting to see what Roark's material looks like when he shows up in Salem starting this October. Days of Our Lives spoilers say some shockers and shakeups are ahead in the coming months, so we'll fill you in on any other cast additions and hot plot developments. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 2nd, reveal that Sophia Choi will drop off her baby in the safe haven box, so firefighter EMT Javi Hernandez is about to make a surprising discovery. Duel fans know Sophia's water just broke, so she's definitely in panic mode. Instead of giving birth at the hospital, Sophia will give birth in her bedroom and decide she can't let anyone else see her newborn. Tate Black has been envisioning his son's first steps and other milestones, so he clearly suspects the gender is male. Days spoilers say Tate will be proven right when Sophia indeed brings a baby boy into the world. However, Sophia is determined to let adoptive parents raise this child. If Tate sees this little one, Sophia may worry that he'll grow even more attached and fight to keep him. Sophia won't want to face new pressure from Amy Choi either, so she'll think the best thing she can do is give up her baby ASAP. Days spoilers say Sophia will sneak off to the fire station, where there's a safe haven box that allows mothers to drop off their babies anonymously. Although it'll be hard for Sophia to give the baby up, she'll believe it's what's best for everyone. Sophia will also get rid of the towels and any other evidence that she gave birth at home. Within the next episode or two, Sophia will send out an SOS to Melinda Trask and get her help crafting a bogus story, one that'll trick Tate into thinking she had a baby girl and that the adoptive parents already took her home. As for Javi, he'll find Sophia's newborn son in the safe haven box and rush him to the hospital so that she can get checked out. This will pave the way for Javi and Leo Stark to look after the baby, though they obviously won't know Sophia was behind the drop-off. While Javi updates Leo on the latest baby news, Steve Johnson will have some important info to share it with Julie Williams, most likely about the necklace she still hopes to get her hands on. As for Maggie Kyriakis, she'll push Sarah Horton Kyriakis to use her as a confidant. Days spoilers say Sarah will indeed get some things off her chest regarding Xander Kyriakis, so she'll appreciate Maggie's support. Holly Jonas also has some scenes coming up with Maggie and Sarah before she turns her attention to something on her phone. Tate might text Holly about meeting up, or maybe she could push for a meeting instead. Either way, Days of Our Lives spoilers say Holly and Tate will reunite romantically later this week, so stay tuned. Days of Our Lives has released a new preview video that features what's happening this summer and beyond. Stefano DiMera may be alive, so that shocker is in Duel's latest promo, along with a double kidnapping, courtroom chaos, and more. For starters, Sophia Choi will put her baby boy in the safe haven box at the fire station, and then lie to Tate Black that the adoptive parents already took her home. That'll bring multiple layers of deception as Melinda Trask helps Sophia cover up the truth. Javi Hernandez will make sure the baby gets checked out and will end up caring for this little one with Leo Stark for a while. Next, Johnny DiMera will go on trial for E.J. DiMera's attempted murder. So Paulina Price will get on the stand and recall how Johnny said his father got what he deserved. Rachel Black will also be forced to testify and will worry about Johnny going to prison because of her. However, there could be quite a twist brewing since Belle Black will ultimately suspect Marlena Evans knows who shot E.J. Since Marlena will apparently be keeping quiet about it, that could mean it was actually Rachel and that she's blocked the memory of firing the shot herself. It also looks like E.J. will recruit Gwen Rizjek for an intriguing assignment. Gwen will be instructed to find out what someone knows and stop him, so E.J. may want her to seduce Xander Kyriakis and carry out this urgent mission. Tony DiMera will also recruit Gabby Hernandez to fight fire with arson, so he'll expect her to do some sizzling with the Kyriakis brothers. Gabby will indeed plant a kiss on Xander in front of Brady Black and Sarah Horton Kyriakis, which will cause Sarah to plant a kiss on Brady in retaliation. A brawl will break out between Xander and Brady soon after, so Duel fans won't want to miss all the action. As for Gabby, she'll indulge in some passion with Philip Kyriakis next, but the lines may blur between her sneaky goals and how she actually feels about him. On another note, Jennifer Horton Devereaux will speak at the opening of the Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic, which will also bring Jack Devereaux, Mike Horton, and Will Horton back to town. Sammy Brady's return is featured in Days Summer Preview too, so look for her to greet EJ and enjoy some family reunions, including one with Marlena and another one with Eric Brady. Back with Sophia, she'll try to sabotage Tate and Holly Jonas's relationship, but a far worse crisis is brewing when Holly and Ariana Ari Horton get kidnapped. Ari and Holly will land in captivity together due to Doug Williams III loan shark mess, so Tate will get into a scuffle with him as he seeks answers. Plus, Days' preview video features someone plotting a knife attack. As Alex Kyriakis yells out a warning and tries to shove Kat Green out of the way with Chad DiMera's help, someone will seemingly still get sliced. So will it be Alex or another character? It'll happen around Halloween, so will this be real or part of a spooky fantasy episode? Back with Marlena, she'll collapse and wind up in the hospital, where she'll dream about being Queen of the Night. That'll pave the way for some flashbacks and some hints that Stefano may somehow have risen from the grave once again. Rafe Hernandez will tell Kat that there's a reason why Stefano is known as the Phoenix. Anna DiMera will also talk to Tony about someone claiming Stefano is alive. Someone in a lab coat can be seen toward the end of this day's promo as Tony, or maybe even a revived Andre DiMera says, "It's almost time, Father." Did Dr. Wilhelm Rolf bring back Stefano in some form and perhaps Andre as well? Regardless, Days of Our Lives spoilers say some major DiMera curveballs are still to come, so stay tuned for updates on all the stunning news and heated confrontations. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, July 1st, reveal that Sophia Choi is in for a shock, while E.J. DiMera faces a warning that's bound to get fierce. Doug Williams III will also deal with some questions, so let's talk about what's ahead on Duel. For starters, Tate Black will check in with Sophia for some baby updates, but she may assure him that she's not facing any more pain. However, that'll change when Sophia suddenly goes into labor in her bedroom later. Days spoilers say Sophia will reel over how fast everything moves from there. This baby will come quickly and leave Sophia in panic mode by midweek, so this delivery won't be happening at the hospital. In the meantime, Chanel Dupree DiMera will face off with EJ at the police station. Although EJ will work to get Johnny DiMera out on bail as soon as possible, Chanel will worry that her husband's being too trusting of his father. Days spoilers say Chanel will rip into EJ and deliver a warning on Tuesday's episode. After Chanel makes her disapproval known, she'll probably insist EJ had better not do anything to make things worse. As for Brady Black and Kristen DiMera, they'll end up clashing over Rachel Black again. There may be concerns over how to address Johnny's arrest and keep Rachel from blaming herself for something that wasn't her fault. Across town, Days spoilers say Doug will land on the hot seat thanks to Ariana Ari Horton. Ari may sense that Doug is avoiding her and wonder what's up since it seemed like they made such a sizzling connection before. Of course, Doug may not want to admit all the loan shark drama and the fact that he's pulled Ari into danger, but he may have no choice if she keeps pushing. On the other hand, Ari might figure out that Doug has feelings for Holly Jonas and put him through a grilling session about that instead. Regardless, Days of Our Lives spoilers say Doug will end up in a tight spot, so stick with us for more news on all the complications. Xander and Sarah are going to war. At least, that's what they declared last week on Days of Our Lives, as they both promised to fight for custody of their daughter. Despite their lawyers advising them to go for joint custody, Sarah's not backing down, which means Xander isn't either. He flat out threatened to bring out the big guns against her, then ominously told her that she hopefully won't ever have to learn what that means. And behind her back, Xander's already toyed with the idea that Melinda work on ways outside the bounds of the law to get custody. This week, Maggie's going to go at it with Xander after getting Sarah to open up. And it sounds like things are going to go downhill between this one-time loving couple in a big, big way. And if you missed that big summer preview trailer for Days of Our Lives, we suggest you check it out, because it looks like Sarah and Xander are both going to be bitten by the green-eyed monster. But hey, if there weren't still feelings between them, there wouldn't be any jealousy either. So as dark as things are between the once happy couple, all is not lost just yet, Paul Telfer teases. Xander's in a bad spot right now, and his portrayer shares it's his first time being completely isolated and just forced to reckon with himself. And we all know that when Xander's backed into a corner, he doesn't exactly make the best choices. Case in point, Philip's beating. But despite Xander's anger, he's desperately in love with his wife and daughter, Telfer says. So he's got to start scheming to work out some way to either con them or convince them or seduce them back into loving him again. And it's not going to be easy this time. It's not going to even be possible for a while this time. What's more, this time around, there's actually a very good reason that Xander pulls back from the total war he's threatened. Victoria. It actually plays out dramatically, explains Telfer, where Sarah and Xander keep having opportunities to hurt each other or do something to win this breakup. But instead of doing the most damaging or traumatic thing, they have the love of their daughter and the desire to do what's best for her as a kind of break on their behaviors. And certainly on Xander. We saw a smidge of that last week when, after raging against each other in the Horton Square, Sarah relented and allowed Xander to say hi to his beloved daughter in the pub. The smile on her face as Victoria reacted to her dad made clear that she still understands how important that father-daughter relationship is. And so too, apparently, does Xander still realize that Victoria's relationship with her mother is also important? After all, Telfer laughs, Xander's main crime over the years has been kidnapping children. There's always an option, right, of kidnapping Victoria? But instead of getting to this place where they get all the way to the point of full-blown war, either legal or illegal, they find ways to choose what's best for their daughter, which keeps allowing these little cracks of light into the relationship. So yes, things are going to get ugly for a bit. But rather than bring out the worst in her parents, it looks like Victoria will somehow, miraculously, bring out their best. Or at the very least, she'll keep them from devolving into their worst behavior. Whether that ultimately means Sarah and Xander can ever find their way back to each other is another matter. Their future may still be up in the air, but there's hope. Even if Victoria's parents can't find love for each other once again, they can at least find a healthy path forward. Days of Our Lives. Fans know her as Salem's villainous Vivian. But did you know that her portrayer, Louise Sorel, is an author too? The actress will release her first book this summer, and the best part is, you don't have to wait and can reserve your copy today. If There Were No Dogs, Musings and Mutterings will be released in paperback on August 6th, and features a collection of prose pieces and poems by Sorel taken from her life, childhood, and career. In fact, the adventures she's taken thus far have been motivated by her love of the theater, her devotion to dogs and other animals, and her many travels. Aside from her popular Days of Our Lives role, the actress has also appeared on numerous other soaps, including Santa Barbara, One Life to Live, Port Charles, All My Children and Passions. Her career, which began on Broadway, spans into primetime and films and talent runs in the family, as her father was a Hollywood movie producer and her mother, an actress and musician. She was last seen in Salem in April, when Vivian and Sammy shared a ride out of town, and back in October 2024, of her many returns, Sorrell told Soaps.com, "Whenever they call me, I show up." Ready or not, Days of Our Lives' Sophia goes into labor this week. And to put it mildly, the scenario in which she gives birth is not what anyone would call ideal. She's all alone, not just specifically in that moment, but kind of at this pivotal time in her life in general, portrayer Rachel Boyd tells Soaps.com. She doesn't have the support systems in place that would be nice for her emotionally. She doesn't have parents who are very supportive of her, or a partner who is helping her through this. So for Sophia, she continues, there's that pressure of, the bomb's about to go off, so to speak. As the pivotal episode drew ever nearer, Boyd was anxious too. "I was very fearful of the character giving birth," she admits. "I thought, how am I going to play this honestly? Not just to portray the birth and the physical aspect, but also to be able to conceptualize and relate to that bond that new mothers feel afterwards. That isn't really something you can study in the same way. For me, something clicked when I saw that," she continues. "I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to symbolically understand this bond." In fact, Boyd used the memory in the scene in which Sophia holds the baby for the first time. "And it's baby prop, right? It's not even a real baby," she laughs. "But I remember looking at it and thinking, I wonder if he'll have a strong handshake." It connected that feeling for me. Moving forward, fans may want to brace themselves for sort of a Sophia 2.0. "She can never be the same again after this experience," Boyd says. "The character will be changed forever on the other side. She is going to understand her power and her independence in a new way. And she also now has an emotional tie to another little person who she's going to want to protect no matter what, in whatever capacity she can." Especially with baby daddy Tate seeming more and more like he's having second thoughts about giving up his and Sophia's child, that may mean taking drastic action. Sophia has had to learn quickly that decisions that directly relate to her life and her body are not always completely in her control in the way that they should be, Boyd notes. So the threat of somebody taking away her ability to decide what she wants for her life and for the baby's life is very real. She's going to be a bit more mama bear, for lack of a better word. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that while Abigail DiMera passed away 3 years ago and was killed off in a very final way, it's hard not to think that she could return to canvas. Still, the soap seems to be teasing an Abby return with some storyline twists and turns. Here are 3 recent hints. The soap recently commemorated Abby's passing. It's been 3 years since the woman was murdered in the DiMera mansion. Jack Devereaux and Jennifer Horton DiMera put the idea of Abigail returning to rest, as they have finally accepted their daughter is gone for good. In the land of daytime drama, this almost certifies that she could return, especially since there was some unfinished business on Clyde Weston's part before he fell into a coma. Duel fans recently learned that Kat Green used to be an ISA agent. She was recently coaxed into a new assignment by ISA director Shane Donovan and has a handsome new partner in Rafe Hernandez. It's hard not to think that Kat and Rafe could share sparks. It's also not hard for viewers to see that if Kat doesn't tell Chad about her ISA gig anytime soon, she's risking their romance. Why would Days introduce another potential love interest for Kat, unless they knew that her relationship with Chad wouldn't work out? Is this because Abby is set to come back? Gwen Rizchek is scheduled to return on Monday, July 7th, as Emily O'Brien reprises the role. Gwen has many ties to Salem, with one being Xander Kyriakis, as well as her ex-best friend, Leo Stark. Still, she's also linked to Chad, as she worked hard to break up his marriage with Abby when she first got to Salem. Could her return to the screen be linked to a possible Abigail return? What if she dives into a romance with Chad, only for her sister to come back and blow her dream relationship out of the water? Do you think the soap is hinting at an Abby return? Join the conversation below. Watch your favorite soap on Peacock Daily. And check out this site regularly for the hottest Days of Our Lives news and spoilers. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate a new face will pop up in Salem this fall, as the young and the restless alum, Micahel Roark, has joined the cast. While there's not a lot of information about Roark's arc or who he'll be sharing scenes with, there are more details on this story below. As per soapoperanews.net, Micahel has already started taping but won't be seen until early October of this year. A Days of Our Lives spokesperson also remained hush-hush about the name of the character he'll be playing and what storyline he'd be working on. Fans need to stay tuned to find out, so it'll be interesting to see who Roark is linked to on screen. Hailing from Schaumburg, Illinois, Roark is a lawyer and an actor who went to Illinois State University and studied theater, but eventually pursued law and became an attorney. Roark is known for starring roles in Alabama Dirt and Driven, as well as recurring parts in series like Finding Carter, Sleepy Hollow, and Beauty and the Beast. He's also guest starred in shows like Grey's Anatomy, Banshee, as well as 911. With that said, Weiner fans may remember him as Travis Crawford, a role he played from April 2016 to December 2016. He became the love interest of Victoria Newman when the two met at Hank's Bar, an establishment he owned and also bartended at. Still, his work on Wall Street as a commodities trader also scored him a job at Newman Enterprises, but he ended up leaving town when all was said and done. Are you excited that Micahel Roark is joining Days? Do you think he'll enter a new role or potentially play a recast? Regardless, the romantic possibilities are endless, right? Here's hoping he'll enter a solid storyline. Will Roark be part of the Horton, Brady, or Kiriakis families? Maybe Demera? Join the conversation below. Watch your favorite soap on Peacock Daily, and check out this site regularly for the hottest Days of Our Lives news and spoilers. Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest that Kat Green's life may get far more complicated than it already is. She's currently dancing around the idea of a romance with the Chad Demera, and as these two have had their fair share of obstacles, it's nice to see them finally diving in and dating. Sadly, her past as an ISA agent and current assignment will make things messy for her new romance. Plus, her handsome new partner could also make things sticky. Considering she once paraded around as Abigail Demera, all because Clyde Weston blackmailed her, it's natural and normal that Chad had trust issues with Kat. Still, he eventually got over those and has decided to get to know her better. Unfortunately, this all coincides with Shane Donovan also twisting her arm to help him with a new ESA assignment. Add in the fact that resident hottie, Rafe Hernandez, is her new partner. Plus, she's investigating EJ Demera, Chad's brother, whom he's close to. And it's hard for Duel fans to shake off the idea that if Kat doesn't fill Chad in on the new developments that have taken place in her life, she could blow her romance with him right out of the water. Days of Our Lives spoilers imply that sparks could fly between Rafe and Kat, especially as they dive deep into this ISA investigation. Plenty of interaction and late-night encounters could only increase the chemistry between these two. So will Kat be overly upset if Chad decides to split? With that said, the last thing she wants to do is hurt him. After all, she's already done enough damage when she pretended to be Abby. It'll be interesting to see if Kat starts to develop feelings for Rafe, and how this all will affect her budding romance with Chad. Especially since he has a slew of people, mainly Abby's family, warning him against trusting Kat. Do you think Kat is better suited with Rafe or Chad? Join the conversation below. Watch your favorite soap on Peacock Daily, and check out this site regularly for the hottest Days of Our Lives news and spoilers. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, July 1st. Hint at some explosive moments up ahead in Salem. Someone gives a friend the third degree, while two exes have a face-off and two rivals clash. What's set to unravel on Tuesday's show? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives fears for Tuesday, July 1st reveal that Ariana Ari Horton will question Doug Williams III. The two had a one-night stand that was supposed to lead to more. However, he seemingly dipped. She'll likely think he used her, but the real reason Doug is staying away is because the thugs that were after him when he first came to town want more money, and they are using his friendships with both Ari and Holly Jonas against him. They've threatened to hurt both ladies if he doesn't pay up, so he's keeping his distance. Still, Ari won't see it that way, so how awkward would this encounter be? Meanwhile, Sophia Choi will give Tate Black an update. Fans know that she's set to deliver her baby this week secretly, So is this about that? Will she also keep Tate out of the loop when their baby comes? Across town, Brady Black and Kristen Dimera will argue about Rachel Black. Rachel told her grandma Marlena Evans that she saw Johnny Dimera shoot her uncle EJ Dimera. So will they argue about Rachel spilling the beans, or being put in a position where she has to hide her truth? Fans know that Johnny did not shoot EJ, so is Rachel lying, or did she misjudge things? His son getting arrested is the last thing EJ wanted. But will Chanel believe that EJ ratted out Johnny? Is this the reason for their latest confrontation? In the Tuesday, July 1st episode of Days of Our Lives, Johnny hired his dad and got out on bail. Chanel continued to clash with EJ, but begrudgingly supported Johnny's choices. Doug abruptly changed his plans with Ari after spotting the Loan Sharks thug in the pub. And Kristen, Rachel, and Brady had a fun movie night to distract Rachel from the Johnny news. Plus, Sophia's water broke. She's having this baby. Before a solo Sophia's water broke, she and Tate were alone in her room. The baby kicked up a storm, and she lied about being close to finding parents who would adopt their baby, thanks to some new understanding lawyer who definitely wasn't Melinda Trask. After all, Brady put a stop to Melinda's involvement. If there is a new lawyer, it could be a Melinda referral. But is there a new lawyer? Sophia is a girl who thought she had a little more time before she went into labor. That there was still time to solidify Plan A for adoption. But did you notice how she doesn't let her mom run her life anymore? Unlike before she turned 18, she really didn't have a problem telling her mom to go to dinner and a movie without her. She's acting a little bolder, and by the end of the episode, when she's alone in her room, her water breaks. The time for Plan A is over. Once Sophia has the baby, seemingly all by herself, she is going to be a busy girl. Rachel Boyd recently talked about who viewers will see once the baby is born. The actress says to expect a new version of her character to emerge after the baby is born. And Sophia has plenty of focus in Days' brand new summer sizzle trailer that the show released yesterday. It looks like she will make some drastic choices in the wake of having no prospective parents to adopt her and Tate's baby, like they had hoped would happen. In the promo, the teen mom ends up going another way with the baby. First, she lies. The adoptive parents were with me when I gave birth. They wanted to take her home right away. I let them, she explained. Second, she secretly and discreetly leaves the baby in a safe space for others to find. And later in the trailer, she shows more and more of that bolder Sophia that Boyd talked about, and it may manifest itself into a Tate fixation and removing the Holly obstacle from their lives. Are you ready to see what happens next for Sophia now that the baby's about to be born? It won't be long before Days of Our Lives Sophia gives birth. The story of Sophia and Tate as impending teen parents is not the usual kind. It wasn't quite a romance, more like a dalliance, when they slept together after it looked like Tate and Holly were over. However she got pregnant, Sophia's facing several adult decisions that will affect her whole life. Rachel Boyd recently opened up about how Sophia's entire world will be changed after she gives birth. Sophia and Tate were planning on giving their baby up for adoption because they felt they were too young to be effective parents. Boyd discussed the storyline with Soap Opera Digest and explained that a new version of Sophia, a 2.0 if you will emerge after she has the baby. She explained, "She can never be the same again after this experience. One result is going to be the connection she will have with the baby that will activate her motherly instincts. Not only is Sophia going to want to protect her new child, but she'll also begin to understand her power and her independence in a new way. She's going to be a bit more mama bear, for lack of a better word," Boyd explained, showing how much Sophia will change. While Leo is now on the fence about whether he agrees with the decision to give up the child, Sophia's going to hold on to her life choices as they affect her body and her decision-making about what happens to her body. Boyd further noted that Sophia has learned that many of these decisions can sometimes be out of her ability to control. But this means that she might resort to desperate measures to get her desired outcome. She's 18 now and feels that no one, not even her mother, can tell her how to deal with her pregnancy. She prepared fans to get ready for a fierce new Sophia who's going to take charge of her life. On Days of Our Lives, The month of June was largely devoted to saying goodbye to an iconic character and a daytime legend, Drake Hogestyn. His equally legendary co-star, Deidre Hall, gave one heartbreaking performance after another, as Marlena came to terms with the fact that she would no longer have the love of her life by her side. Much like we're commending Hall for giving amazing performances during such a challenging and heartbreaking time, we must commend the rest of the day's cast involved in the hospital, the funeral scenes, and the scenes at the pub when John's chosen family remembered him and drank to him. Each actor infused their characters with a strength. Even when their characters' pain over losing, John felt so real and so palpable. They had viewers in tears day after day after day. Marlena started the month by giving John permission to rest, and she ended June by going into protector mode for her grandson, Johnny. In between, the grief Marlena felt over losing her husband was permanently etched on her face. It never left her. You could see it in the way she looked at her family and friends, the way she repeatedly listened to John's "I love you" voicemail, and even in the way that Marlena attempted to come up with things to do, so she wouldn't have to stop and think about what she's lost. Marlena is strong, but currently, there's a pure, unadulterated grief that's always waiting to bubble up to the surface. It was especially fascinating when the psychiatrist had to go to the hospital because her grief physically affected her body. When Sarah came back with the test results, she told Marlena that physically, she was fine. But she wasn't fine, was she? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 2nd. Find two women on the edge. Maggie finally gets a confession out of Sarah, and Sophia puts the pedal to the metal with Tate. Making up her mind has never been Sarah's strong suit. Neither has taken responsibility for her actions. She's been pregnant twice, and twice, she's lied about the father. She's also lied about her husband's parentage, for variety's sake. But when Xander got angry about it, and beat Philip into a coma, Sarah got self-righteous, threw him out, and announced she'd be suing for sole custody of Victoria. But is she really done with Xander? This time, Maggie isn't buying it. Going into false labor drove home for Sophia that her baby is going to be born sooner rather than later, and she and Tate haven't found adoptive parents for it yet. The clock is ticking, and Tate is obsessing over maybe getting back together with Holly. He needs to keep his eyes on the prize, and if he doesn't, then Sophia has every right to yell at him about it. Julie, in the meantime, is still missing her necklace, the one Doug stole, and Holly defended him for, and Tate wasn't happy about it, so she dumped him. Now, Steve is on the case. He knows that Melinda bought it, but she won't give it back or even let the cops examine it to try and figure out who Doug sold it to. But the cops aren't Steve. He's made progress that they couldn't. And he has news for Julie about her family heirloom. Got a red-hot theory about your favorite soap storyline? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the July 2nd, 2025 episode tease the moment Sophia's been anticipating. After a recent scare with Braxton Hicks, it looks like the real moment has arrived for Sophia. After she seemingly gives birth in her bedroom, it looks like she throws on a disguise and returns with no baby. As the day's summer sneak peek revealed, Sophia will secretly give birth and drop the baby off at the Salem Fire Department, where the newly hired Javi will find him. Meanwhile, Holly will share a sweet moment with Maggie, who also comfortable Sarah. Later, what will Holly discover on her phone? Got a red-hot theory about your favorite soap storyline? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. Days of Our Lives, 2-week spoilers for June 30th, July 11th, 2025. C.E.J. DeMera is scrambling to save his son, and Gwen Rischek sweeps back into Salem with a whole new attitude. So on Monday, June 30th, Gabi Hernandez and Ari have a very nice mother-daughter moment, which is very sweet since she generally doesn't want to give Gabi the time of day. Marlena Evans and Roman Brady discuss their worries about Johnny DeMera, who has started on Friday. It carries over onto Monday's episode. EJ insists that Johnny did not shoot him, but Jada Hunter goes ahead, and she arrests Johnny anyway. Chanel Dupree rushes out of Sweet Bits in time to hear from her husband Johnny that he is being arrested for EJ's attempted murder. So Chanel then goes running to her mama, Mayor Paulina Price, and she may be trying to push her to use her mayoral powers to get the charges dropped. Obviously, Jada got that info from Rafe Hernandez, and I'm sure she discussed it with District Attorney Belle Black. But you know, Belle has a lot of conflicts of interest since Johnny is her nephew, and she's sleeping with his dad, the attempted murder victim. So, Rafe, meanwhile, isn't very happy with Jada. It looks like he thinks she arrested Johnny without enough proof. He's not her boss anymore, and he shared the anonymous info, about Gabby overhearing it. And that just doesn't seem like enough to go and arrest him on Days of Our Lives. So we'll see. Johnny looks like he's back out. So, I don't know if they're forced to drop the charges, or at least give him bail. Tuesday, July 1st, Ariana has some questions for Doug Williams. He's obviously worried about the photos that he was mailed by the mobbed-up debt collectors. I wonder if he's going to cut ties and dump Ari to try and protect her from the bad guys. Plus, Brady Black and Kristen DeMera disagree about Rachel Black. They never ever agree about their daughter. And I suspect this is about Johnny, what she saw him being arrested, and whether Rachel could be called in to testify, because really, she's the only witness that had Johnny with the gun in his hand, and EJ's denying it. So, Chanel is bickering with EJ. Obviously, Chanel's going to blame all the bad things that have befallen her, and the man she loves, Johnny, on his awful dad, EJ. Because the only reason Johnny held a gun on him was because of the whole him raping his mom, Sammy Brady thing. Plus, Sophia Choi updates Tate Black, and I wonder if it is about DA Melinda Trask bailing as her lawyer. And I wonder if Sophia, I don't think she knows that it was Brady that threatened her. I'm trying to remember. I don't think she does. Maybe just Melinda backed off because Brady did threaten her, which is insane because she was the only lawyer willing to take on this case without any kind of retainer. Wednesday, July 2nd, Sophia absolutely freaks out when she goes into labor. Looks like she is alone at home, and she gives birth right there in her bedroom. However, Sophia doesn't want anybody, but especially Tate, to know that she gave birth. She doesn't want them to see the baby until she gets the adoption sorted out, because she thinks Tate's going to back out of the adoption, and that's a problem for her. So, it looks like Sophia may actually leave her newborn baby at the fire station, because that same day, Javi Hernandez heads home with a baby, and he and Leo Stark are fussing over it. And I don't know where else he would get a newborn baby, just randomly. And Javi is working at the fire station. Maggie Horton Kiriakis gets Sarah Horton to open up to her. Obviously, Sarah's upset about Xander Cook and his demands to see Victoria, which of course he's going to demand that Mama Maggie is there to comfort Sarah. She's not happy with Xander either. Steve Johnson has an update for Julie Williams, and I wonder if it's about the family necklace, or Bo Brady and Hope Brady, or some other issue. Thursday, July 3rd. Holly Jonas is happy as she and Tate reunite romantically, but don't forget Holly was looking at colleges overseas. So, is that still the case? Because Tate was looking at local, and are either of them going to notice that Sophia is, got a pillow under her shirt now since she's given birth, and it seems like she wants to delay people finding out. Xander and Maggie are arguing, and it's very tense. Obviously, it's about Victoria and Sarah. And of course, Maggie doesn't care that Philip Kiriakis claims that Xander didn't beat him. She's quite certain he did. Everybody really knows he did it, but they can't do anything since Philip is covering for him. Sophia really needs Melinda's help, and I think Sophia may tell her she gave birth and ditch the baby. Brady comforts Sarah, and there is more of this dynamic to come as she remains estranged from Xander. Friday, July 4th is a holiday, but we're still going to have a brand new episode of Days of Our Lives. So we've got EJ supporting Johnny, and he is vowing to keep his son out of prison. But of course, Johnny is wondering if EJ is going to do something crazy. Chanel doesn't like this, and she thinks Johnny has made a deal with the devil by bargaining with his dad. And Chanel is really upset about Johnny and what's happening. And her stepdad, Abe Carver, is there for her. Belle Black gets the hidden camera's memory card sent to her anonymously, and then she makes Paulina a promise. And I wonder if she's vowing to make sure that Johnny won't go down unless he's clearly guilty. Belle needs to recuse herself because that is the son of her boyfriend, and he's accused of shooting her boyfriend. She can't be the DA on this case. I hope they're not going to do that. And I also am wondering who sent Belle the memory card. Was it Rachel? Was it Kristen? It doesn't look good for Johnny, since it shows him at the mansion holding the gun on his dad. Even though it doesn't show him pulling the trigger on EJ, Kristen and Brady go to Marlena for advice about Rachel, and Alex Kyriakis tries to talk Stephanie Johnson into something, and Kate Roberts asks her point blank if Stephanie is the one who wrote the dirty book that Alex wants her to publish at Titan. July 7th through the 11th, EJ's shooter case is just getting started. Johnny's going to be the first accused, but not the last. There's going to be a whole summer trial thing. And of course, it still looks like Rachel Black may have actually done the deed. Sammy is heading for Salem soon. She needs to see Marina and offer her condolences on John Black's passing. And Sammy's also going to want to check in on Johnny about this arrest. Xander won't back down about Victoria and Philip, and Xander are busy trying to revive struggling Titan Death.